Hello there, and welcome back to another weekly edit. This week I'm back in ON1 Photo RAW and DxO's PureRAW 4, because first we're going to process the image in DxO's PureRAW 4 and then finish the edit in ON1's Photo RAW. Got to keep track of all those RAWs there. So something a little bit different and interesting, I think. So it's also going to be interesting to compare PureRAW 4's conversion to ON1's own AI noise reduction and sharpening. So yeah, let's jump into the edit. Or actually, before we jump into the edit, let me quickly do that, because I normally tend to interrupt myself as soon as I start the edit. The image for this week was captured in the Drakensberg Mountains in South Africa on a multi-day hike with friends. So that's where, how, it was the Fujifilm X-T2 mirrorless camera, and the lens used, I believe, if I recall correctly, was the Fujifilm, I think it's a 20 or 24 to 80 millimeter? 24? 16 to 80 millimeter. 16 to 80 millimeters, sorry. So it's full frame equivalent of, I think it's 24 to 160. Yeah, very versatile lens, great for heading out on a hike. So you're covering a lot of bases. But anyway, let's jump into the edit and we'll get going. Okay, so I've got ON1 Photo RAW open here on the screen. I've got two copies of the raw image. One is for ON1 and one is for PureRAW 4. With this one we'll actually create a DNG image as well, but this is just to start us off. Okay, so let's do PureRAW first. So quickly, I've got PureRAW open here, already saving us some time there with my by now signature long edits. And I want to add an image here. So let me just quickly grab it from the desk, or not from the desktop, from the folder. So PureRAW 4, there it is. I'm gonna drag it into PureRAW, the raw images. Okay, so it's in PureRAW, and you got two options down the bottom here. Just process with your default settings or process with preview. In this case, we're going to process it with a preview. So I'm going to click on that, and it asks you if you want to have auto update enabled. So when you make a setting change or move the image, normally you have to click on update preview, but if you enable this, it will just do that automatically. So this image is a little bit tricky in the sense that, let me mention that quickly, just that and then I'll show you on the screen. So this image is a little bit tricky in that I really love the composition. The light was the Drakensberg is quite, it's a lot of sort of deep valleys, and the light tends to come in and really highlight certain aspects while leaving other aspects in deep shadow. So you can really isolate things like, in this case, a tree and a ridge line against with sun on it, against a very dark backdrop, and really creates beautiful opportunities for making images. What's making today's image a little bit tricky is it's slightly soft, so it's slightly out of focus. But in terms of the impact that it has, I think it's still worthwhile edit, and actually to include it. It's on my website in my portfolio. So I'm going to try and get back that sharpness, that in focus sharpness, and then at the end I'll show you guys a little trick to a counterintuitive way to enhance that sharpness even further, that I've actually mentioned in some of my other videos. So stay tuned for that. Where'd my shoe go? There we go. Okay, so just my sleeve a little bit longer. Okay, so on the left-hand side here, we have the original RAW, and on the right-hand side, we have the correction. And the reason the disparity is there is because of the lens correction being applied to the conversion. And on the right-hand side here, we got two options: D-Prime, which is the original sharpening and denoising engine, and then with PureRAW 4, we have D-Prime XT2S and XD. Is it not changing there? So, D-Prime, great, just let me down there, thank you. Okay, so let's zoom into 100% here, and you see it'll take a moment to update. There we go. There we go. And here you can see in the original RAW, quite soft, and then in the processed one, it's almost in focus, almost sharp. Now, I'm going down the right hand side here. All these options are pretty standard. I leave them checked. The only one I'm going to change here today is lens softness compensation. Now if you keep an eye on the tree here, you can change this to soft, standard, strong or hard. Now it's currently on standard. I'm going to switch it to strong, and you can see the tree just pops, or it just comes into a little bit more of a focus, and it's borderline starting to have a negative effect, but I'm going to leave it like that, and you can see the big difference it's had. Let's just go before, after. So it's still not 100% in focus, but in terms of making a print of this or having in your portfolio on your website just to illustrate the vision behind your compositional skills, or the vision of having actually identified that composition within the bigger landscape, I think still relevant. We're going to output it to DNG, which is a RAW file, and I'm going to put it in the original image folder, in the subfolder, just DxO, and I've just got a little renaming preset here, which is essentially the original image name, just with a little PureRAW 4 appendix there. And then I'm going to zoom back out to there, and I'm just going to click process. So that's going to process it here. Shouldn't take too long. Let's see, how long does it say? It normally gives a little 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, and done. Okay, processing done. We're going to close that out. Yeah, thank you. And we're going to close PureRAW 4. And now we have the original image there in the subfolder. And let's just move it out. So let's just take that out. And now we will have all 3 images here in. So we have the folder, and then we have the 3 images here. So we are going to focus on, let's just start them quickly. So on the original RAW file, Fujifilm file, and the PureRAW processed one. So I've just given them both 1-star ratings, and then we will quickly filter them out. Okay, you can focus a bit better there. Okay, so just before we get into the color edit, lost my shoe again. We can talk about the vision for the edit. So my vision for this edit, as you can see on the raw file, is basically nothing major. It's going to try and increase that sharpness, the focus of the image, and also just enhance the colors that are there. And I might do a slight crop. So again, on paper or theoretically, it's a very, very simple edit, and it's just enhancing the natural elements that were there in the scene. So let's get into it. Okay, so all I want to do here is actually, so this is the original, this is not the original, this is the PureRAW converted file. So there you can see, let me just quickly get that out. There you can see PureRAW, and if we go back, this is the original Fujifilm RAW file. And if we enhance that, you can still see that's quite soft. So in ON1, let's go to, we'll do, because PureRAW did lens correction, so we'll zoom out quickly, enable lens correction. That should have helped a little bit at least. Yeah. And default 356. And then we will do noise and sharpening. Since this is, I don't think there's a lot of noise here actually, in my opinion. So we can either do no noise AI, Tack Sharp AI, or both. I'm trying to decide here. Let's just do both. So I'm going to click on both. So it's also giving us a little preview here, and you can see it's working down the bottom. And now we have on the right hand side here, like in PureRAW, the processed version. So that's the original RAW file. That's the processed version. Now it's starting to look a little bit weird in my opinion. And as you can see on the right hand side here, it's been applied quite strongly. So auto's on. So color noise. So in terms of noise reduction, there wasn't a massive amount of noise. So I'm actually just going to take that down to about 50%, roughly there. It's just reprocessing it. It's looking a little bit better already. Enhanced detail, I'm just going to take up a tad to about 20. Okay, looking better already. And tack sharp, I'm going to take down as well to about 50, 60. That's looking a lot more natural. Definitely a lot more natural. Let's see, let's increase the micro sharpening here. Too much. See what that does. Ooh la la, that is crazy. So the zeroed out at 100, I'm going to take it up to about 138. And yeah, that's good. We're going to click apply, lock that in. So it's quickly going to do its AI magic, as it's saying there. And this is obviously in real time, so it's fairly quick. And then we will go back to the library module and we will select both. And we will compare them. So on the left hand side is the ON1 version, and on the right hand side is the PureRAW version. Let's click that. So let's just zoom in to 100% here on both, and then we can sort of see what we want to do. So let's lock pan and zoom. That means it stays yeah, in the same spot for both images. Okay, so let's do 200%. And you can see here. Now there's not a massive difference here, but I think in my opinion it's a bit of So this, remember, this is 200%. Now in my opinion, I think PureRAW did a bit of a better job here, even though it's looking at slightly less sharp. But the grass to me looks more natural, and the background there seems to be less artifacting than in ON1. Sometimes with these programs it's a bit of a hit and miss. You just gotta sort of experiment. But I thought that this would be an interesting comparison. Let's go back out to 100%. So yeah, at 100% it's less obvious, but I definitely think PureRAW did a better job there. So let's carry on and do the color edit in PureRAW, with the PureRAW version, shall we? But okay, again, just before I jump in then. So, I mean, there you can see the advantage of processing an image, whether it's in focus or whether it's slightly problematic, and like in this case, through PureRAW 4, just to really get everything out of that raw file before you do an edit. It can really just be that little difference between being sort of, reaching the goal that you have. Okay, so let's quickly do this edit then. So in ON1, you have a very similar layout to Lightroom. The one thing you don't have is a lot of the color grading and grain and things like that. You don't have by default under tone and color here. So I added in effects where you can add different filters with those specific adjustments. But because I do it so often, I've actually made a preset, which I'll link down in the description, that it's here on the left hand side, that actually, if you have a look on the right here, it actually adds all the modules or filters that you would normally have in Lightroom as well, and then just also sort of prevents me from forgetting about something. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So now these are all been added, and we'll just do the base edit quickly. So exposure wise, I actually want to take it down ever so slightly. Contrast, leave that alone for now. Highlights. So in this case, highlights, I actually want to take it up, because I want this ridge line to really start to stand out. And I mean, highlights is not having a major effect. It might be more on the white side. Midtones, take that up just a tad, and then shadows I'm going to take down, because I want this background to almost disappear. I'll take that down quite a bit. Whites, take that up again, and then we can also have a look here at our histogram. We're not in any danger of blowing out any highlights or any whites. Shadows I'm going to take down even more, I might do some localized editing as well. And then blacks as well. And we can quickly have a look at our warnings here. Now just with those, this is just with that small little adjustment here in the tone panel, we already went from there to there. And it's already looking good. But we are going to go further. Just have a look at 100% there quickly. Yeah. Okay, and then structure-wise, it's also, have a look here, just zero that out. Just adds a little bit of punch around those bright edges. Haze, I'm going to pull that to, in ON1 you pull it to the left. Do that too much and see what that is. It is definitely an on thing that's green, so I'm just going to put it down to the left a tad. Okay, and then I did say lens corrections, forgot about that. There we go. Back to tone and color. Color temperature wise, let's just see if we warm it up a tad, but it's going to push those greens towards yellow, which I don't really want. And if we cool it down, also not. So let's just leave it. I'm going to leave it. I might pull the tint a little bit towards green and actually warm it up just a tad. Saturation I'm going to leave alone, and then vibrance I'm going to crank up quite a bit, about 20. And then ON1 has this great little purity panel module within the tone and color adjustment section, where it basically just desaturates, but in a very subtle way, the highlights or the shadows to remove sort of a color cast. Now in this case, if we do to the highlights, you can see, you'll start to see them get quite desaturated as I get more towards 100%. But that I want to leave alone. I actually want to pull a bit of color out of the shadows there. And this is just a way of doing it in a just a more time efficient way. I mean, I can add a graduated filter and do it with like that as well, but seeing as it has this built in, and you can see how quickly that happens actually with the shadows. So I'm just going to do just about 20 there. Now it just creates a little bit that color separation even more. And noise and sharpening has been done by PureRAW, so I'm going to stay away from that. And we're going to crop. So I'm going to press C, and then it's already on the original aspect ratio. Now all I want to do here with the crop is just remove a little bit of these rocks top sort of left of frame here, and these ones on the bottom, because they're drawing the eye a little bit. So I'm going to take this up till the bottom rocks are gone, and then I'm going to take the top right corner here down until those ones are gone, and then I'm going to take it down here just to get this ridge line that's going out of frame here a little bit closer to the edge of the frame. So to about there, just a bit more visually pleasing. And then the tree, one bit more center frame, to about there. That looks good. So I'm going to press enter to commit that. And that, I think edit-wise that is pretty good. Now I'm going to head over in ON1 to effects, and I'm going to add. Let's go. The dynamic contrast is already something that's added ever so slightly, but I always have it at 50% opacity. It just also helps a little bit with focus. So you can see the difference it has there on the tree and the grass. It is bringing that background into focus as well. So the nice thing in ON1 is we can also mask any of these effects out. So I'm going to click on the mask icon. And I am going to do the background. Now we can actually just go up here and press gradient mask, click on there, and now we can drag it out here like that. Oh, I had another one accidentally. That's not what I wanted to do. Sorry. There we go. And decrease the feathering to about there. And now, if we have a look, you can see that dynamic contrast is just being applied to the foreground. Okay. And color adjustment. This would be like HSL in Lightroom. I want to do a little bit of the green, so that was a preset I clicked on now. So all I want to do here is enhance those greens a little bit. So you can see it went from there to there, which is a little bit too much. Advantage is here, we can decrease the opacity and then just bring it up slightly to where we want it. There we go, perfect. And then, and again, let's just have a quick look at the before after. We can have a look at the global before after. There we go. Or we can also decrease the opacity of the entire effects panel. So that's without any effects applied. That's just all done. And then what I want to do here actually is through we did color balance with color grading. I might here actually just add a little bit of blue to the shadows. It's a bit too strong maybe. Okay, let's have a quick look. Before, after, and again, let's decrease that opacity. So it's almost like having layers in Photoshop. It's quite nice. And then while we are here, maybe without having to add a graduated filter for the background, let's just have a look what we can do here with the shadows if we drag that. It's not a too big an effect. Let's zero that out. Okay, so through curves, I am actually going to add a mask, and I'm going to add a gradient mask, and I'm actually going to more or less leave it at default. Rotate it a little bit. You can also view the mask, you know, just like that. And then I am, let's zero that out quickly, and then I'm just going to pull down here just to darken. I've got to reverse the mask. Very, very professional there. So you can also click on the mask and you can say, it's got an invert button there. Yeah, there we go. No. Right click on it maybe. Invert, there we go. Invert. Okay, so let's just quickly increase that feather there. And then we will go back and do that more or less like that, and then we will bring that down as well. So that's maybe a little bit strong. Now again, a big advantage here is the opacity. So that's before, and that's after. So maybe at about 75. Great. And I'm going to get back to the zoom tool. Now what I like to do also in a situation like this is actually just zoom out a little bit and just sort of view it at thumbnail size. And that generally tells me also what impact it will have. And for me, that's already looking like something quite interesting that people still want to click on and make bigger. So I'm just going to go back to fit to canvas, fit to size. And the last step we're going to do, second last step, sorry, is add a vignette. Now, there's a lot of presets here that you can do as well. Subtle, strong, big softy is sort of quite nice. It's generally quite strong. So I've made a little preset which seems to have disappeared. Ah, no, sorry. There we go. Let's pull that in. I'm getting confused between the layouts of some of the programs. CM Softy 1. There we go. Okay, so let's pull that back out. And now it's added a more subtle vignette. And then the last step for the color edit, we're going to add some grain. Now, I did mention in the beginning, this is going to be a little bit of a, this is also the counterintuitive way of actually increasing the sharpness of the image by adding grain, just to help it along a little bit and just create a bit more of a natural transition between highlights and shadows, funnily enough. So currently there's no grain edit. One of the nice things about ON1 is we have a lot of different grain options and you can just mouse over them like I am here. So just go down there. And for this image, I might choose quite a strong grain. Let's see, Ilford 400. Fujifilm New Pan. Just having a look there. Ilford Delta 32. Expand. That 32 is not looking bad actually, but we're going to decrease the strength a little bit. So let's choose that, and then we can adjust here some aspects like the amount and the size. So let's just take the amount down. I'm actually might increase the amount, decrease the size, increase the size, decrease it to about there. Now this is at 100% strength, so let's quickly remove it. And now you can see that tree is looking a little bit out of focus, even with PureRAW's magic. And let's just enable that. Now I know it's looking a bit grainy, but it just looked, the tree just, I don't know if it's a, how do you say, it's just a visual effect. It just looks more sharp, more in focus. So we can again play with the opacity here. So I'm going to take it up to about, quite strong, about 75. And let's just take that off and on. And again, if you're not happy with that grain in the background, just we can actually again apply a mask. And what we can do here as well is we got some options down the bottom here. We can do invert, we can do luminosity, we can do depth mask, which is something new in ON1 Photo RAW, copy, etc, etc. So let's do, should we do a luminosity? No, not invert. Invert it again. Let's do a luminosity mask and let's visualize it. And now we can, so the background's going to be in shadow. So I'm going to take the levels here more towards the right, just to get a bit more of an effect on the background. So here, remember everything that is white is going to be affected. So I'm looking at the background. Here we go. More and more isolated. And I'm going to take away just a bit like that. So there's a bit of a trial and error, and the feather is just going to ease that transition. And now, because I don't want the grain removed from the background, I'm actually going to invert the mask. No, sorry, wrong button. There we go. So now the tree and etc. is going to be affected by the grain. Just a bit more there, just more or less like that. And then we will do that. Just do that and do that. Okay, so let's quickly zoom into 100% here. And now if we, you can see the grain is just being applied to the tree. Although now that I'm looking at it, it's almost like it's not as pleasing. Let's go back to the mask, and then we'll just decrease the density and to about there, and have a look at it before, after. Yeah, much better. And I think that's probably for the color edit. Is going to be that. I might just quickly let's just bring up that there we go. Okay, yeah, let's leave it there. Okay, I lost my shoe again. So that's the color edit, where we use PureRAW from DxO to really enhance the image, lens corrections, noise reduction, and sharpness before actually starting the edit in ON1 Photo RAW. And then we use some masks, and we also compared ON1's sharpening and noise reduction to PureRAW 4's. Yeah, quickly do the black and white edit if you want to stick around for that, and then we'll end it off after that. Okay, so G, hit back there. I'm going to right click on the color edit, and I'm going to say create a version. I'm going to double click on that, and what I am going to do now is I am going to add a black and white filter. Where is that black and white filter? If I can find it here. Photo filter. Don't have it. There was a black and white. Oh, there we go. Knew I wasn't losing it. Okay, so I think I mentioned this in last week's weekly edit. If you do convert to black and white, just be aware that if you did any sort of color grading, that might have an effect. So just disable that, and then go back to the black and white. Generally, it's always a fairly flat conversion. So play around with the color channels. So the greens are going to brighten there. Aqua sort of just reinforces the greens. Blues, more cool backgrounds. Let's pull that down a little bit. A lot more magenta in the scene. And then yellow is going to be more the grass foreground again. So that's just helping separate that again from the background. So that's the initial black and white conversion done. Then I am going to add, so the original curves layer or curves effect was used to just darken the background, but now I want to increase overall contrast. So I'm going to add another curves effect, curves layer, and here I'm going to use a preset. Where's the invert lighten? Is there no strong contrast presets? Contrast boost. There we go. So contrast boost. So if we quickly look at before, after, now that's quite strong, and I'm just going to tweak that ever so slightly. So I'm going to take that more to those shadow areas, and then the highlights I want to really push up. Midtones, leave it about there. And again, then we can play with the opacity. So I'm going to leave it to about there. I'm going to head back to develop, turn and color, and see. Sometimes I like just to play with the default contrast slider, see what that does. Turning a bit of a over the top effect. So if we go back to effects, to the original curves layer, we just decrease that opacity ever so slightly. And then I'm going to go back to develop. So this is a little bit of a song and dance, a little bit of a back and forth dance between different adjustments. Here I'm going to take the midtones up. Whites I'm definitely going to take up. And blacks I'm going to take down. And I think that's probably as good as it's going to get. I mean, it's all hillside with some green on it. Some is just more in shadow than other areas. But in terms of where we started with this edit, let's just see a black and white conversion. We went from there to there. And that ridge line is standing out very nicely. And I think let's leave it there. Yeah, awesome stuff. Well, I hope you enjoyed that or found it useful in some way, or learned something maybe. If you know something that I don't, let me know down in the comments. And I appreciate you sticking around. If I don't remember to put that link to the preset down in the description, do let me know. But I should remember, seeing as I've mentioned it twice in this video. And yeah, I don't think there's anything else to say, but I will see you in the next one.